Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And here we are. This has been years in the making, but it is finally here. The article comes to you guys from Mobile World Live. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. For those of you who have been on the channel for a long time now, I have been very, very critical over the years of Verizon under Hans Vestberg's leadership. And it's here. It's finally here. You guys have heard me say it adamantly for a very long time. He needed to be removed back in 2021, 2022, and maybe even before that, a little bit before that. He took over in 2018, but I felt like he just wasn't the right fit for Verizon. I saw that clear as day early on, and I just knew that what he was doing was just not going to work. And I maintained that through the rest of the years until now. And nothing he's done has really done anything. Many regard his tenure at Verizon as mediocre. Nothing has really, he's done nothing for Verizon from a bigger picture, right? The balance sheet is better, but they're losing share in every segment now, and and most of it is trending down. I pointed that out in the second quarter. I put up the chart and I said, look at all of their sections. Look at FWA, look at business. It's all trending down. And Q3 was the final straw. That was it. And I want to say this, I want to be very clear, and I want to be very sincere. From what I know, people I speak with, this was not planned. I want to be very clear on this. This was not planned. This was not a succession planning. No way, no how. This was not planned. Can't go into detail, but this was not planned. This does not, what happened here left many surprised and does not resemble anything close to succession planning from anywhere. This does not it does not happen this way. No way, no how. It does not work this way. You generally give the market time to adjust to the announcement. Then there is a proper send-off. Then usually, give or take, there is a final earnings call, and then there is a date set when you transition CEOs. This was not planned, ladies and gentlemen. Hate to break it to you, but this was not planned. From what I know, what I've seen, can't share much. This was not planned. No way, no how. This was absolutely not planned. That's how bad the third quarter was. So we'll have to see when those numbers come out. And keep in mind, the earnings call has been pushed back 8 days. That does not happen. So the new CEO is coming on board, right? When the announcement was made that Hans Vestberg was out, that was effective technically immediately. So the new CEO has to get going and has to sit back, and he has to work with his team to come up with something. He can't just go into this earnings call and say, hey guys, this was a bad quarter. I'll see you in the next one. He can't say that. He has to have something in the prepared remarks to save what's been broken. And he won't be able to fix everything right away, right? Because he may have inherited something very bad, but change has to come, and more on that in the video tomorrow. You guys have heard me in the last video. I said Verizon cannot continue in the same manner, because there's been a lot of you saying that Verizon is not going to change. No, there will be change, because what Hans was doing and his team did not work. So you cannot ride the same wave. No way, no how. There needs to be change. This new CEO has to make change. He's got to bring new plans. He has to do something, dare I say it, disruptive. For that coming for Verizon is Very unlikely, but it has to be somewhat disruptive. And I think, and we'll talk more about that in the video tomorrow, and I think he needs to take on the competition head on. That's the only way any of this works. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you have the best player on an NBA, NFL, MLB team, whatever, highest paying salaries, all that, if they do not compete, they will lose. Right? That sounds simple, but that's how it is. And if he doesn't take the competition head on, they will lose. Now, a lot of people have been bringing up the point, well, Verizon's balance sheet is rock solid. It's perfect. It can't be. Right? You have to, everything is future predictions, future guidance, right? Today, Verizon is still, EBITDA's up, free cash flows are up. We get that, we understand that. But can they sustain? That's why there's always a future outlook. That's why there's always future guidance. I've said and maintained this for a long time now, that eventually the customer losses were going to be so severe. Verizon has a limit, and they know if they hit that limit, it's bad, because that means there's no momentum going into the fourth quarter. There's no momentum going into 2026. And eventually it will rub off and reflect on the balance sheet. At some point, it'll happen, because you look at it like this, right? Verizon, they pull the pricing lever, bam, raise price. What happens? They announce churn bubbles. What does churn bubble means? Customers are leaving. Verizon at this point, they're losing so many customers, they can no longer outgrow the losses. So what do they have to do? They have to post a loss, on the quarters, right? That's how it's been happening. So then Verizon pulls the pricing lever again for the second time of the year. What happens again? Churn bubble, customers are leaving. Verizon can no longer outgrow the losses. That model, it can't work, because now you have two competitors that are more aggressive, that are competing for every single customer that you have. So the pulling the pricing lever twice a year, right, taking that same strategy technically into 26, 27, you were going to just lose too many customers that eventually it will hit the bottom line. Taking away the loyalty discount, that accelerated losses of customers. So none of this was working at all. So that you totally have to scrap, because again, you have to have a future outlook, a guidance for the future. You have to. That's the only way. That's how the companies operate. There's always a 5-year plan somewhere, and they can see clear as day, oh, if we continue this, it's going to hit our balance sheet. Right now we're fine, but eventually we won't be able to guide up 2 or 3%. We have to figure out how to grow and get the company back on the right track. And this new CEO has his work cut out, even though, and again, we'll talk more about that in the video tomorrow, even though I think he is not going to be the long-term CEO. I think he's a fill-in for now. And then there's going to be now with him, there's going to be an actual succession plan. Not what just happened with Hans. There's going to be an actual succession plan under this new CEO, right? We'll see a proper transition, I'm predicting, under this new CEO. So that was bad, right? I put out a post on my X this morning. If you want to follow, that my X will be in the description. I put out a post on X with actually a quote from this article. Roger Ettner, founder and analyst at Recon Analytics, told MWL, while Vestberg seemingly had the board of directors on his side, and he's had him on his side for a while, the upcoming Q3 results led him to be replaced. So my question on that post, how bad was the third quarter really for that to happen that spontaneous? And he goes on to say the move was both a surprise and not at the same time. It was a surprise because of how it happened, how quickly it happened. But we knew, like I said at the very beginning of this video, it it was eventually bound to happen. So again, everyone's surprised. I won't go into further detail, but this was not planned. This was not a true succession planning whatsoever. This was scrambled. This was a vote. This was a 11th hour meeting, and he was voted out. Simple as that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.